All right, so here is how you will start working this half double crochet slip stitch border. You'll start in a corner and you will chain 12. Now, this number is completely up to you. If you want a wider border or a smaller border, it's up to you. This one's going to be very wide compared to our little swatch, and because I'm using larger yarn, but I wanted to go ahead and have plenty of chains to work into to show you this border. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, my first tip is that when you work these very first row of regular half double crochet, you go ahead and work under the top first 2 loops that a chain makes, kind of underneath that bump in the back. It will make the border look a lot nicer if you can work this first row into those stitches. So here, maybe it's a little bit more clear. There's kind of like they cross over each other. It's a little bit tricky. Insert your hook underneath and above that very bottom loop that a chain makes. Work 10 half double crochets all the way back down to the blanket. Okay, so here we are. We've done one side. We don't turn or anything. I want you to, this one time only, slip stitch into that same space that you just ended the row with, or started your single crochet, or started your corner space. Just right there. Just do one slip stitch. Now turn your work sort of towards you, and actually you're going to have the chain look like this. You'll still yarn over, and now you'll work underneath these top 2 loops of the stitch, pull back through, and continue pulling through just like a slip stitch. This is called the half double slip stitch. So what helps me to get into a little rhythm for this stitch is to sort of kind of like give it a little pinch so I can grab it and continue pulling it through these other 2 loops. All right, you'll work this on down, and I forgot to tell you that it's important that you keep track of the 10 stitches out to the corner. That will really help you make sure you're not missing any, because sometimes they can be hard to see when you get down close to the blanket edge. All right, your last stitch sometimes can be hard to see, but just look for those 2 horizontal bars. Work right underneath them. Oops, almost grabbed for regular. No, just keep slip stitching. Then chain 1 and turn. Sort of turn this to face you. Let's work the half double all the way back down towards the blanket edge. All right, this is sometimes where it's handy to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For some reason, this stitch, it kind of gets smashed down in there, so you'll want to make sure you don't miss it. Work under those 2 loops. Get your 10th stitch there before you slip stitch. And now this time, since we're still working in the same direction around, you will slip stitch 2 times over. So 1, and then slip stitch underneath the next stitch. Now turn your work sort of towards you and cross this in front of you. Grab it, and let's start back up. All right, this is the half double slip stitch. Now let me show you what this looks like, what we've got going so far. See, we're working this away from the blanket back and forth. All right, I'll keep working this off camera and I'll show you how we'll work down the next side. All right, here is one complete side. And oh my gosh, I love this stitch so much. Okay, so I just slipped stitched 2 times, and now here I am at those, you know, on my second one landed in the first of those 3 single crochets that make up the corner. So what really you want to do, it doesn't really matter what stitch you end in. You want to at least bring your row up so that we can get that next one. We want it as straight as possible. So I will work down one more time, and instead of slip stitching over 2 times, I'll just slip stitch the 1 time. And then I'll work my way back out to this outer edge, and that's how we'll start the next side. So here I am at this last corner, and instead of slip stitching twice, I'll just slip stitch under there 1 time. It's a little tight, but that's okay. There we go. Then turn, and this will be my last row on this edge of the blanket. So work that all the way out to the edge. Okay, here is, let's see, here it is on the back side. We can look at that. Did pretty good getting it even across. This is what it looks like on this side. And now what we will be doing is chaining up and working across the edge this way. So here we are. Instead of chaining 1 and turning, let's go ahead and chain 12. All right, so 3rd chain, look for underneath these 2 loops to work your stitch. Now, at this point, I just was thinking that you can have the option of starting this with regular half double crochets, or you can go ahead and start with your slip stitches. I'm going to leave that up to you. It completely depends on probably the blanket that you're making and the border that you like. So I think either stitch is going to work here. I think I started doing regular half double crochets, and as I just was working this portion, I was thinking, well, you actually could do either. So I'll let you choose. All right. The most important thing though is to just get underneath those 2 loops. So we have this nice looking ridge on the edge of our blanket. Here we are working. I just worked down that, and now again I just want to work right into the first stitch with only 1 slip stitch for this starting one. So we'll turn and start, and we start with our slip stitch there and continue working down the side. Back and forth, same technique as before. When I get to back down to the edge of this, or to the edge of the blanket, then I'll begin slip stitching over 2 times. So generally in the corners, I think the rule could be 1 slip stitch and then 2 slip stitches the rest of the time. However, I want you to make sure that you're just using however many slip stitches you need to make it flat across your blanket. You'll see that if this part is rippling, then you have too many slip stitches in between, and maybe 1 will be fine. I just know everybody uses different yarn and different techniques. So anyway, I think my tutorial, I'm going to end here, because you work down and you'll do the same thing and the same thing. And when you get back and you have worked clear back here, you'll just end it and kind of do the best you can with a slip stitch and then weave that end in. Let me show you the original blanket and how all of these corners kind of worked. And here we go. So maybe you can see here the finished look. So they all kind of, it kind of goes in a pinwheel. So anyway, a pinwheel, I guess, is that the right word? I don't know, but you'll notice when you lay them out. And please refer to the pictures on our website if you need even more clarity. So anyway, what I'm saying, let's see if I can find the finished edge. See, I can't even tell anymore. Could have been this one, probably this one. Finished it, slip stitched, and tried my very best to disguise it. So that's how it will end. And again, completely optional, up to you, but if you wanted to, I guess you could go into these and do one round of single crochet if just a slight dentation, you know, bothers you. But again, I will leave that up to you. So anyway, here is this beautiful blanket. There is a much easier version on yarnspirations.com. It's just called the Colorful Stripe Blanket. It uses the half double crochet. I will have it linked in my blog post if you wanted to go look through that. And anyway, thanks as always for everybody and your kind comments and support. We just love you all so much, and we love sharing your work made from Daisy Farm Craft Patterns. So if you want to use the hashtag Daisy Farm Crafts on Instagram on your post, we'll see those and we can put them up into our stories, or come and share a picture to our Facebook page, or come and join the group Daisy Farm Crafters. That's a good way to connect with other people that are making the same patterns. All right, that is enough from me. We will talk to you soon. Thanks.